Hello and welcome. This is Reverend Dr. Gilberto Rosado for Traffic Multiplex. In this video, we're going to be talking about shoes and sandals, footwear. How best to make some sales in this. I remember the old days, the old days of the door-to-door salesman. You remember if you're old enough, they used to come by. We used to have someone, remember, as a little kid, there used to be a fellow who would knock on my mother's door, on our home door, and my mother would have introduced this stranger to our home, and they would be sitting in the living room. And he would have, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was either paper bags or, paper sheets, very thick type of paper, almost like what the butchers would use when they cut up the meat, and they had that brown thick paper, wax paper, whatever, that they would wrap the meat in or something. It was something like that. It wasn't flimsy paper at all. And I don't recall what he was selling. I'm not sure. But it was something that he would have wrapped up in this type of paper. He would unroll it. It was more like something he would roll out. And maybe there were samples in there somehow, whatever. I don't recall what it was exactly. Again, we just stayed in the room playing, and I would look at what he was bringing and this and that, and that was the end of my curiosity because I didn't know what it was. But in any case, that was the last I saw him. There was really, it appears that was the time where that was fading out. It was not something that was being done any longer. I guess we had then bigger stores with greater selection coming into the different cities and towns. So I think it was that area right there. I was born in 1963. So you figure around what, 66, 67, 68, whatever was going on in terms of retail in that time, it was affecting the change, I guess, or the impact that it had on door-to-door salesmen. I do remember at one time, very small snippet of time, my mother getting milk from the front door. I know for sure because my wife is a little older than I am. She remembers that because she was a little girl. She would know the milkman would come and bring the milk and eggs and cheese or something like that to the front door. So she remembers that clearly. She was older. I was just born at 63. So around 66 or so, those things started disappearing. And so, and then, as I grew older, I got into sales as a young man. And we used to read stories, we used to read those success books and sales training books. I used to do that for my self-edification. And one of the stories that I remember, a very common one that any salesman would have heard about, was about, there's always a story about a fella who wasn't all that considered, I guess, all that bright. He was like a simple guy, what many would consider slow, and probably even with a speech impediment. There's a real life, one of those, I should say, that used to, I believe at this time we can say that used to work for the Fuller Brush Company. I think it came out on one of the news shows a few years ago. I say a few, it may even be more than a few. But I remember seeing either on ABC New York, Channel 7, or it could have been a network-wide type of thing, or some other channel, a story that they were following this salesman from his morning routine through he couldn't tie his own shoe. So I don't know if this is bringing any remembrance to any of you. He couldn't tie his own shoes, so what he did, he would throw his clothes on. He couldn't do his tie. He couldn't do his shoes. So basically, yes, he just had his breakfast. His family would give him the breakfast. He had it, and he would go out and he would go to the bus stop. He'll wait for his bus. He'll go on the bus, and he would start a morning routine of going to a certain place. I forget right now what it was. If it was the train depot or wherever, where there was a guy, a shoe shine fellow. So he would go and get his shoes shined, but while the guy was shining his shoes, he would then tie the shoe for him. So he killed two birds with one stone. But that was his every morning routine. He would get his shoes shined, and then he would have him get his tie on, tie the tie for him. And the guy, he's a shoe shine guy, but he would, make sure, because the shoe shine guy understood that, he couldn't finish these little details, and he was a salesman. He was going out to make his daily bread, to get his daily bread. And he would do that religiously every single day. He worked for that company, and that company stopped using door-to-door salesmen. But they wouldn't fire him. You see, that was really nice. You know what I'm trying to say? And he was out there selling. He would be selling those, and people would buy his brush for whatever reason. But the thing was, he was still doing it. We also have another story about Bible. I heard this one from an old Jewish man. He had a store next to mine. He was doing antique collecting, and he used the store really to store his stuff. He wasn't selling from it, like seeing clients from there. No, but if he would sell something, he would look for it in the store and then wrap it up and then bring it to the person, or ship it, or have the person come and pick it up. Make private arrangements, but he was using the store as a storage. Anyway, but when he was there and he saw me, we would come to chat. And he had a lifelong full of stories, that fellow. And he used to be a Bible salesman in the Bible Belt. He used to talk, which is the south of the U.S. It's considered the Bible Belt. That's when everyone is a Baptist there, or believes in some loves the Bible, and you could go door to door and sell a Bible, because this is important item in the Bible Belt. So, and he would tell me how much he used to make money. He would be selling Bibles like crazy, and other things that we talked about as well. But I heard in another story almost similar to his, taught by or spoken, related by a sales trainer. And he talks about a Bible company. I'm not sure if it's Thomas Nelson or one of the others, that used to use the door-to-door salesman to sell Bibles. This fellow was a person, again, the same motif of being either slow or having some type of impediment. But this fellow would go out every day. He would go out and he would knock on the door, and he had his Bible. And the story goes that he would say, "This is a Bible," and he had a speech impediment too. So his speech was a little awkward. But he said, "This is the Bible. Hello, I'm Mr. So and so, and I'm here. I want to show you something very special." And then he started to show the book. He showed the front this, and said, "This is the Holy Bible." And then as the people had, and they said, "Oh no, don't worry, I have one." I said, "Oh, but let me show you this. This is something here." And then he would just open up to the first page. And then he was showing, you see here, we have the book of Genesis. It's very nice, the printing. And he was begin to talk. And seeing we have the edges of the paper. They have the little gold all the way around. It's very nice. The paper, look at it. The paper is very high quality. And he was saying, and look at the words of God here. And then he said, no, I don't worry. I appreciate that what you're doing, but I'm really not interested. But let me show you something else. And then he would turn the page. He would turn the page. And then he would start again. He would show all the features on that second page, you see? And you know already what he did when the person still gave him an objection, right? He was let me show you this one here. And he would show him the other page, or the other chapter. And, he would not take no for an answer, simply. He was the top seller in the company. And they use his story. These are real life stories, but they use the story to relay the teaching. One of the important teachings of salesmanship is never take no for an answer. You should never take no for an answer. You always need to go. There's always, in other words, there's always something. There's a reason that the person's saying no, and you have to find the reason and satisfy that reasoning. In other words, satisfy the reasons of their objections, eliminate their objection, and then go for the close. And since this person, you can brainstorm it all you want. You can say, well, it's just because because of his situation, his condition, or whatever state he wasn't even taking signals from the person as a normal person would do. But it's a classic example, though, that he would overcome their objection, because he just wouldn't stay with the no. He will just go and show them something else. And for him, something else was another page, and then also probably adding another feature to this. And this is something else that I didn't tell you before. And he would be looking to eliminate the objections. Just simply, that's what he did, day in and day out, sale after sale after sale. So those were days that, when you had to make a sale, you had to get out there and do it. And so I said this because you had shoe salesmen the same way. Shoe salesmen would come by the house, and that's one of the things also in my story, that the guy would bring in the bag. Sometimes he had a shopping bag, or he had that wrap bag or something like that. He would bring, in other words, he would bring different things every time he came. So whatever it was that he was selling that day, he would bring it in some type of, bag that would hold it right, comfortably. So that's what it was, because I do remember one day he brought shoes. So he brought shoes to the house, and women's shoes, of course, and then he started to show my mother these shoes, and they, of course, to go into the trying on and stuff like that. And he would also be ready to bring in children's shoes. He say, I can bring some shoes for your child, for your children, or for your husband. So they would be able to arrange those sales right there by coming to the house and whatnot. So those were interesting days. Things started to change, of course. You have the stores, retail. You have more choice, and then you have the discounts and whatnot. Now we have the internet. The internet is bringing in a whole new method, which we don't know if it's catching on or not. And why is it that you guys are trying to sell shoes online? I mean, what is the basis of you making the decision that's selling the shoes online, or developing a website, or sending out emails with shoes on it, that's going to result in a sale, that people are there ready to buy shoes from an email or buy shoes from a website they never heard of a moment ago. I mean, what makes you think that somebody would do that? See, so that's the question you have to answer. It's not that I'm being curious, because for me, there's only one answer to that. Okay, and you don't want to hear it from me. All right. Okay, because I mean, the question, you need to know the reason why you're trying to sell shoes. You see, on a website. I mean, there's no overcoming objections there. People are still people. See, you would have to assume that people have stopped being people. And I think that most of you guys and most of the internet marketing techniques, I think they lose focus on the fact that people are people. And you tend to start looking at numbers and statistics, and you turn people into statistics and numbers, and that may be fine for the large retailer who has a lot more to bring to the table, who has a lot more authority, so that you guys can understand. See, what you're dealing with, you're basing your thinking and whatever you're reading online or hearing on videos and whatnot, or courses that you take. You're thinking based on information garnered by these large retailers, and how they're testing and keeping data on responses to this button, to that button, or this form to that form. And you have to understand that a lot of that data and a lot of that information, it may be, I'm not saying it's that way entirely, but I'm saying that a lot of it is formulated through branded platforms, through authority sites. You understand? So it's established sites that also have already overcome certain issues that, to many of you trying to sell shoes, and this applies to apparel, any personal item, you're trying to sell this on an unknown site. And you're trying to implement the tricks of the trade used by the big guys who already have community, who already have a name out there, so that when people come to their website, this website, oh, I need to buy my shoes, I gotta get them, and let me find it here. So there's a lot to overcome. I'm not saying that it's impossible. But it always amazed me, especially with Amazon. Before Amazon, okay, I could see where you would think that, I'm opening another website and focusing on shoes. I can see that. But having a website with trying to sell shoes or any type of apparel, where people can find the same thing. That's the thing. The same thing on Amazon. I don't see where you're thinking that you're going to make it big. I mean, you could make a few. Listen, there's always someone that will do it. You understand? I think you're not realizing you can. There's many types of people. Okay. So yeah, can it work? Yeah, it doesn't make you the success story now that others are going to emulate. Because I can tell you there's some people making money from non-standard people out there that would just, oh, they found your shoes on this website, they just click. They're not thinking. These are the same people that get scammed in other things. See, those people that complain that, oh, they sent money over there and they didn't get the product and this and that type of folk, because they brought from some unknown place. Yeah, these are the buyers that you're getting. And somebody saying, oh, they're making X amount of dollars every month from their site. So you figure, oh, I can do the same and get the same amount. You'll be fighting over that segment of the population. But Amazon will always be Amazon. See, Amazon and the big guys, I'll just name, like Best Buys and Macy's, okay, and Sears. If they're downsizing, I don't think they have any retails, or they're eliminating a lot of the retail outlets. But in any case, the people recognize the name. Is my point, and they would go. Why would they buy a Kenmore kitchen item from your website and not buy it on Amazon? See, so the trick here. Now, I don't think that you got to understand. There's two different retails going on. If you have an exclusive item, that's a little different. So we're going to get to that. So don't worry. But if you got something that's not exclusive, all that's happening, the model that's going on is that you're getting whatever traffic, in whichever way you're getting it, people looking, also not in control of their thinking, of their purchasing style, of their purchasing reasoning, okay? And they simply have not resolved from themselves that they're just going to go to Amazon. If they need something, I'm going to Amazon. See, which is what the bulk do. Now, the strategy for making Amazon, in other words, you are in the Amazon affiliate program, is to provide information and some utility that is not easily available on the Amazon site, or not available at all on Amazon. So that gives you a lot of leeway. There's a lot of room to provide a client, a customer, what Amazon does not. Okay? So if you're thinking in those terms, then you can reroute, because what you're hoping to do is reroute the traffic, the buyer, away from Amazon to your site, but then back into Amazon. In other words, you're doing a swing buy and collecting traffic that would normally go to Amazon directly. But because your site has something that Amazon doesn't, that the traffic is particularly in wanting, then they'll go through your site. They know they're going to go to Amazon. They're going to buy this at Amazon. But there's something on your site. I'm showing you how to think about this. There's something on your site related to what they want, that they want right now, before they go and get what they want. This is the basic thing you need to think about when you're trying to sell items that are available. If you're an Amazon affiliate, for example, that's what you have to do. Now, those who have exclusive products, direct from the manufacturer, for example, that the person will not necessarily or easily find at Amazon, then you have a different type of strategy, right? Because you're typically, in other words, you should be branding your site because you have something unique. You have something that Amazon actually doesn't have, or it's not easily found, you see? And this works for all of the Amazon affiliates as well. If your items are like hard to find, these are what you call micro niches because they're hard. And in a marketplace like Amazon, they would be a little difficult to find. Somebody would be there's a like different level of how easy something is to find and how lazy a person is to find it. So if there's something that takes them a while to find it on Amazon, or something that most people just wouldn't go to Amazon maybe to get it, maybe they will get it themselves if they go when they go to the city or when they go to the pharmacy or something. It's not something they need, but their resolution is to wait till they go that side of town to get. You understand? So things that are like that are on their mind, it's bothering them, or they have something that's going on that, I have to wait till I go to the city, or I have to wait till XYZ, where they can go and you can attract them to some information because they want that. They want relief. They want to solve their needs, their wants, right? That's what they want to do. And you can provide that on that website and then link them right into that Amazon or to the manufacturer. You can do this with drop shipping and also with branded products that you have created your own brand with. So these are the different types of ways of doing that. The emphasis here, though, is what I'm trying to impress upon you is that you can't just think about what you're trying to sell on the website. Simply, just say I'm going to have a shoe website. You need to understand what the dynamics of what you're trying to sell, what dynamics are created or forced because of the parameters, the details concerning the items that you're trying to sell, and how the purchaser or the visitor, your traffic, is going to react, how they're going to come here in the first place, and why. It's like I said, there has to be a compelling reason for them to come to your website. So you have to really look at what you're doing. I gather that most of you, in some of the analyses that I've done, most of you are looking for accidentals or hoping for them. You're hoping that someone accidentally clicks through to your site. You're looking for, and notice the tricks that have been evolved. If you've been any time as an Amazon affiliate, this is a trick, a very popular trick. So they'll put up a banner ad, let's say on a shoe forum, discussing these shoes, women's shoes, and women are talking, oh, I had this shoe and this and that, and from this brand and this designer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you found that perfect niche targeted forum that you can get that targeted traffic from. So then on there you will put a display, and you show those Italian shoes that a lot of people like, and they started talking about it, so it's there in the sidebar, in the banner, So again, people will click. That's the idea. They're clicking because they're looking for the shoe. This is what I call accidental traffic. Why? Because they're not coming to your website because of your website. They're just coming because they saw the shoe. So again, it's like it's targeted in that they are interested in the shoe, but you still have that credibility issue. You have the issue that if there's nothing else, see, and that's the point that I'm trying to say. If there's nothing else except they click through the picture of the shoe and then they go to that item on your website, and then all you see is the ordering page, the shoe, sizes, select the size, color, a little description about it. And if that's all that's happening, it's just how many people have to click on that banner before you get a person that's really going to buy that, right there, that needs to buy it. I guess someone rushing, they don't have time. I saw it quick, blinking. Can that happen? Yes. But did you know how many people would have to click through on that ad before you find that person? That's why I say it's an accidental sale. I mean, you're lucky to get it, because there was nothing more about your website or about the ad, nothing more that gave that person any reason, no reason for them to click on the button. They're practically forced to click on the button. And that also creates those other tricks that have been done in certain plugins and whatnot, where a person will click. So click here for to get more information about it. They click, they end up in Amazon, for example. But then that cookie sets them in as a client. So they don't buy now because they're not rushing. And then a few weeks later to a month or a month and a half later, they'll finally go, let me go get a pair of shoes, and then they forgot about your website long ago. When they left, they forgot about your website. But they go to Amazon and they look for the shoe there because they know it's there, because they saw it, because you showed them it was there. And they go and they buy it from Amazon, and you still get the commission. See? That is basically the retelling trick, what I call the trick, going on with most of the Amazon affiliates. But it's something, and some manufacturers will give you commission junction, let's say. They tell you how they use cookies. So they'll, when you sign up for a manufacturer's program, they'll tell you how long the cookie will last for that visit, for that client, so that you can get credit for anything they buy for the next month and a half or 3 months or what have you, and some longer. But it's mostly that's what I call accidental, because there's nothing about your website, what you're doing, that's of any particular value, but still you're getting the credit, you're making commission because you trick them into coming to your website. There's no reason for them to come to your website, because they could have gone to Amazon directly. So I'm hoping I'm making myself understood. You're tricking them to come to your website, and then you're sticking on them. It's like putting a sticker on somebody on their back, and they say, if this guy buys at Amazon, you pay me the money. That's basically what's happening. So all the different plugins and programs and themes for Amazon niche and all that, all of these things are just tricks to get people come through you, because again, you're doing traffic like a nut out there, and you're not building authority, you're not building any credibility, but you're tricking them coming to the site, and then as they leave the site, you put the tag on them, the cookie, and that's it, good to go. So basically the strategy for you all in the Amazon affiliate, just to get them in and send them out. Because for the next 3 months or so, whatever they buy from Amazon, you're going to get a commission from. So again, you still have the problem of getting traffic. That's always going to be your problem, your issue. But when you're not realizing what you're actually doing, because most of the people in this Amazon affiliate niche do not really understand what it is they're doing. You're thinking that you're trying to sell the product to the client. I mean, that's what you're thinking. But in actuality, that is really not your business model. Your business model is really getting them in and tagging them on their way out. If they go to Amazon, you got to have them click that button. And it's really not, you're not, it's not, it doesn't matter if they buy or not then. And you will eventually get someone to click then and there. But a lot of people will buy other things later. But since you tag them, you'll get that commission. You understand? So then you're competing against everyone else on tagging these people who are looking anyway to go to Amazon to buy the stuff. You understand? And this is another situation where this will be abused to the point, if it hasn't been already, to the point that people just don't bother going to any site concerning any product, and they just go to Amazon, period. And I know a few people who have told me that specifically. I don't bother with anything. I go to Amazon, that's it. Because they're sick and tired of going to these sites, and all you are doing is a bridge to Amazon. They don't need a bridge to Amazon. It's like, oh, you come over here, I'll help you. Yes, what are you looking for? You're looking for this and that? Here, go to Amazon. That's all you guys are doing, and the people know this. Some people are getting smart to you. So how long is that going to last before you guys tire all of the world? Catch on to you, and they just won't be visiting your site because there's no reason to. So and then I'll have mercy that you try that same technique with some other manufacturer who's not on Amazon, that you try that same technique with, because that's really bad. You're really not doing the right thing. So what I'm suggesting is that you provide content. You do not just do product displays, because that thing is not going to make you too much money, and you don't have enough money to get enough traffic for that to have some meaningful sense to you. Alright? What you need to do is to look at what you have to strategize your Amazon technique, your strategy. And goes as well with any manufacturer, even if you're not selling for Amazon. Whatever you're selling, an item you're selling, apparel, shoes, whatever, you need to have a different strategy that involves providing quality content, and also, especially for this, exclusive content that cannot be found anyplace else. What's called unshoppables in some niches, which means they cannot buy it anywhere else. They cannot find it anywhere else. Your site is the only site that provides this related to this merchandise. See that? Now, when your site becomes the only site that provides this or that related to the buying of this product, or researching it, understanding it, whatever, then you have a site that's going to get very popular, because as people seek to look at, they're looking for that information, you're the site to go to for it. So you really need to be looking at ways of distinguishing your site from others, and you cannot do this in a general sense. The general sense is already taken care of: reviews, comments, videos, unboxings, all that. That's already being done. It's already been done. What you need to start doing is very focused treatment of the products, and providing a unique satisfying experience, which includes information. It includes information, and includes perspectives, it can include many different things. Depends on the product, depends on what's happening, you see, and the target market. That cannot be found, and no one else is doing it. It takes a lot more work. But once you find that exclusive uniqueness that you're able to implement with this product search and enjoyment or consideration by the potential purchaser, you will have a must-go-to site, and a site that people will begin to talk about and share. I mean, talking about going viral, I mean, if you got something going on your site that's not available elsewhere, you've resolved something that people find very helpful to them. You have gotten yourself a very hot website that's selling, that's going to be selling. You're going to have traffic, and you're going to be selling. So you really need to look at that. Now, for the majority of you, that's going to mean that you're going to have to invest in creating that uniqueness. So really, if you don't have money to invest, you shouldn't do it. Don't do it at all, because you will not be able to compete. And you really need to take a different perspective. Okay, so the one thing I can tell you all, that if you are in this niche and you're really passionate about it, you're really interested in that, not just to make money, but you're really interested in, you want to have a shoe store. I mean, I can't explain anymore. If you had the money, you would have a shoe store, because you just love shoes. You're all about shoes. If that is you, and you just don't have the money to create a website that is unique, and I'm not talking about design, I'm talking about other functionalities and content that people will find very shareable and helpful enough that they will buy and they will share about that experience and talk about it. Then you need to, if you don't have that money for that, then you really need to look at a different way. And to you who have a passion, not to you if you're just looking to make money, you just keep doing your tricks and have your fun. But if you're really looking at establishing yourself in this niche, then I urge you to check out my MDP product. If you take a moment and look at this MDP product, it's the major project product development. Take a look at that MDP, classicflooring.com MDP, and we can help you position your website or your effort in such a way that you'll really start making headway in the niche that you love. This goes for any niche, any specific niche in which you have a passion and a strong desire that if you had the money, if you won the lotto, you would go the next day and open up a store in that because you just love it. You love it. Then this MDP is for you. I have a major project waiting for a passionate person like yourself. So join the MDP program. That is the next best thing to opening a physical location and fulfilling your lifelong dream and passion. If you don't have that money, the MDP is where you should go. And you will realize a lot of what you're dreaming. Okay, so I make that offer to you. Everyone else, listen, understand what you're trying to do. And then understand your shtick, your method of trying to achieve it. But don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. You really need to know that what you're trying to do is something other than what you're thinking. Remember, you have to take a step back and look at what your site is really doing so that you can understand what is happening and why it is happening. Okay? Otherwise, if you want more people to come into your online store and so that you can tag them on the back, you can still use Traffic Multiplex. Just order it from trafficsender.us, or since most of you are not making any decent money, I mean $300 or so more or less a month, you can get paid $50,000, up to $50,000 if you come and work with us in Traffic Multiplex. So simply come over here to this URL. You see the bottom one, earn a salary to promote your shoe website. Classiforium.com, 50K job, 5D. You can do that, secure yourself income regardless of how many people finally come and get tagged at your website. Cookied. And then at least you'll make some money. Instead of keep trying to do something you're not understanding, you're confused, thinking you're trying to sell shoes when you're actually just trying to get people into the store to tag them with your cookie and say goodbye. So you need to understand what it is you're doing with the business model that your website basically has painted you into a corner to do, but you're just not realizing it. Okay? So I hope this helps some of you. Alrighty? So take care.